Hi, I'm Bill Doherty, co-founder of the Doherty Relationship Institute, and I want to talk about the unique power of discernment counseling to work with a particular kind of person who is often impervious to seeing themselves in individual therapy and may be impervious in regular couples therapy. And so again, discernment counseling is short-term work with people who are mixed agenda. One is leaning out, they've just about had it, but they're not completely out the door, and the other wants to save the marriage. And it creates this way in which you talk to both people together and then powerfully each person separately. So this marriage is on the brink of divorce often because the leaning out spouse, who's not eager to get divorced, has not been able to get through to their partner about some things that are quite painful. Now, the leaning out spouse has their own contributions and so on, and let's imagine a case where they're willing to look at that. And now you have somebody who feels like they are the victim, okay? I'm a nice guy, okay? I've been doing my best, I'm not perfect, and my spouse and my wife just, she wants me to be a different kind of person. I'm a nice person. She thinks I do things that I don't think I do, with her and to her. And so this guy may have been in individual therapy, they may have had couples therapy, and so it's tempting if you're doing regular therapy work to sort of give up, what are we going to do here? Or to just pound away at him, and that doesn't work either. But in discernment counseling, short term, the marriage is on the line. And week by week, the leaning out spouse is making a decision about whether to return for another session, up to 5, or pull the plug. And so there's a kind of emergency mode here. And what I've learned is that you can leverage the desire of the leaning in spouse to save their marriage with the kind of emergency mode, like it's now or never, and the fact that I'm seeing both of them. They both come in the first session, I've gotten their narratives, I get a little bit of sense of what it's like to be in the room with them, and I'm getting more details from the leaning out spouse about what the leaning in one is doing, okay? So I'm getting a much better picture here than I ever would in individual therapy if I was seeing them separately. And I don't have to balance things quite as much as I would if I'm doing couples therapy. You have to keep going back and forth between each person. When I'm talking to this leaning in guy now, she's not in the room, I can be more assertive without the risk that I'm ganging up with her on him. And so one of the things that I've learned to do is to leverage, ask each time, where are you with wanting to continue your marriage to save it, keep your family together? Yes, I'm in for that. Why? Leverage that kind of urgency. And then when I try to help him, in this case, understand the effect that he has on his wife, if he's not signing up for that, then I can say, I'm worried for you, Charlie. I'm worried for you. There's some things that are hard for you to take in. When I'm hearing this from your wife, I'm seeing it, and it's kind of hard for you to take it in, and I'm worried for you. So I'm really pushing. I mean, one of my norms is the more confrontational I am, the softer I am, okay? And so I've had people have breakthroughs at that point because it's like, what do I do here? And I'm looking for, in particular, so this is a little tip here, I'm in particular looking for the ways in which this leaning in spouse is punishing the leaning out spouse. They feel like they're getting all this flack and they're getting all this disapproval and all this threat. And they often aren't aware of how they are punishing back. And I say punishing, I think in relationships, people inadvertently punish each other. And so I'll give you an example from a recent case. This is a guy who's a conflict avoider, intimacy avoider, defends himself, doesn't really get angry at her, but he shuts down. And I helped him see that his own image is that he's a turtle, that when she's after him, he pulls in his feet and legs and he does this. And I said, you're actually a porcupine because your wife is experiencing the needles going out from your shutting down, and that she's somehow a terrible nag and a terrible, in a marriage, if somebody does turtle, they're actually a porcupine. And it was, whoa. And so beginning of understanding that his withdrawal is painful, harmful to her, and is threatening the marriage. And of course, I say she's got stuff to work on too. But for now, if you can't see how you are hurting her, there's no hope that she's going to have for this relationship. And can you see, just me and him, she's not here. And I'm not ganging up with her at this point, but I'm leveraging everything I've seen with them, what I've heard from her, what I'm hearing from him. And then often, in my experience, often there can be a breakthrough for somebody who for years has not been able to look in the mirror and see their contributions because of the urgency of the situation, because of the data I'm gathering, and for the particular ways in discernment counseling that I can leverage emergency and the knowledge of both of these people and the desire of the leaning in spouse to save their marriage. Bang, there can be some things that really break through at that moment. And then in discernment counseling, if he has that breakthrough, then she comes back into the room and he shares that to her. And these can be some really magical moments in the life of this couple.